Make some noise for your host, Kid Copious.
What up, perps? Kid Copious, back in the bunker. Purple State Party. You know how we do this. America. The center. Common sense. Well, misfire. Dang it, man. There we go. Things that go bang. Yeah, you know. You never know what you're going to get over here, man. So anyhow, had some friends in from Texas, and a little more on that later. But we went to the Reagan Museum, and as you can see here, this is an Easter egg that Reagan had commissioned as him as Captain America, and he kind of was. And it was for beliefs like this, we champion freedom, not only because it is practical and beneficial, but because it is morally right and just. You know, morally right is kind of the issue that the media seems to have forgotten. You know, a while back we had a story about a Central Park Karen who, needlessly and racially called the police on a black man who was actually a bird watcher. He was just an innocent bird watcher. But then it turns out, in reality, she was walking her dog, ended up in a secluded part of the park, stumbled upon this guy, and he says to her, if you're going to do what you're going to do, then I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and you're not going to like it. He proceeds to take dog treats out of a bag and starts to lure the dog over while raising a bike helmet above his head. He was threatening the dog. He was threatening the lady. If you don't tell that part of the story, it seems like she really was Central Park Karen, and she lost her job over it. But she was threatened. If somebody says, I'm going to do what I'm going to do and you're not going to like it, I don't see how that's not a threat. And this isn't about skin color or anything for me. This is about lying. This is about twisting truths to sell a story. And that's not what we need. That kind of stuff does not help at all. Does not help at all. So I just wanted to get that out there. Try to get something up here that shows that, but I forgot about it. It just popped into my brain just now. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about that. But what was interesting was, the people from Texas, they hadn't really ever been to California. And it was really weird because I expected to hear about the high gas prices, and they mentioned that, and they were blown away by the homeless. I mean, the fact that the homeless, they're not sleeping on park benches. They build friggin' structures with doors and tarps over the top and barbecues out front and all kinds of things. Because here, we give them money, we give them cell phones, we give them tents. They go out and they rummage around, steal, whatever, and they build these houses in very nice parts of town. Places where you and I would never be able to afford a house, but they live there. But the thing that was really odd was they mentioned the mountains. They couldn't get enough of the mountains. And dozens of photographs of the mountains. And then we went to a street fair, and they were talking about how, at least at night here, it's not muggy, and there's not a lot of mosquitoes. And they also mentioned that they don't see stray dogs, which, is kind of weird. I guess here we have stray humans. But, yeah. It was interesting. It was interesting because between living right up against the mountains in Los Angeles area and visiting up in Washington, in Northern California, I've always just mountains, I love them. Don't get me wrong, beautiful. But I've never really thought about what it would be like to live in a flat land. But yeah, as far as the negative side of it, yeah, the cost of stuff, the taxes on stuff, they're paying almost half what we pay for gas. That's good and bad. We can argue that, but that's not really my point. It's just kind of an interesting, experiment to see, just to hear what somebody thought about California. And the things they liked, oddly enough, were basically Mother Nature things that our government doesn't control. And for the most part, the things they didn't like or weren't overjoyed about were government controlled. So it kind of shows you how government can even ruin God's country. But whatever, So, my brother, who's a real asshole at times, he was mocking me, saying that I was a sellout for getting a vaccination. And as I mentioned, I've got concerts to go to. I knew mask mandates were coming. So I told him about this, I guess, whatever, let's just say Monday. I said, well, I only did it because I knew mask mandates were coming. And he said I was fucking crazy. I'm just, what, QAnon, the pillow boy? He's throwing insults at me. Basically just whatever. And the very next day, we get this news. LA is going to have indoor mask mandates. My job takes me in and out of many different places. In the past week, I visited 24 clients. So how am I supposed to do that if they start requiring vaccination mandates, And then the very next day, we got this, San Francisco. Indoor activities, mandating vaccines. They won't, they don't mandate them for things like tuberculosis, which has a 50% kill rate. No. But this we all have to be vaccinated against, They don't make us all get tested for tuberculosis, but, COVID with its 1% chance of killing you, and I'm just rounding that up. 1% chance. But, that's it. I knew it was coming. It was not a hill I was going to die on, But yeah, I'm worried about it because at my age, I don't really care if it sterilizes me. But I've got a younger daughter to worry about. She's got her whole life ahead of her. And we don't know what we're going to find out. But we haven't gotten any truth out of that. COVID, Central Park Karen. How are we supposed to know what's really true, what's really real, when our information sources are just tainted on both sides? Tainted. By people who are just lying to promote their cause, to promote their team. They're not doing it to promote the truth or justice or the American way. No, they're just doing it for their one side. It's stupid. So last week I was looking for some chunks on Elder, and this is one right here from the Larry Elder show. Larry Elder running for governor here in the recall election. Even if you're against the recall, just vote for Larry, because if the recall goes through, at least we'll get him as a governor. Can't be any worse. Governor Elder will reverse this order. Encouraging vaccination is fine. Government mandating it is not. And that's the truth. This thing is not the wickedly dangerous, you catch it, you die thing that they're trying to make it out to be. It's a big overreaction, and the cost is way too high at this point. We're seeing it. Businesses are just being killed off. People will die, but people are going to die of things. The government cannot grant immortality. As much as they wish they can, they can't. Found this one, and this really sums up what I think I've been trying to do this entire time. They want us to hate each other. Don't let them win. And I really feel like we're really on death's door with this one, because the shit that I have to listen to from members of my own family, the kind of hatred that gets spewed forth, like they're not even willing to discuss anything or hear anything. I ask for Biden's accomplishments. I get case counts from Texas and Florida. My own brother sits there and says he's going to roast marshmallows and watch them pay dearly. But then again, keep in mind, this is the same guy that when he was yelling at me about Trump inspiring hatred against the Asians, he was using Asian slurs the entire time. So, liberals, man, they're a fucking confusing mess. But the truth of the matter is I don't think a lot of these liberal types, these far lefties, I don't think they hate America. I don't think they hate red states. I don't think they hate Trump. I don't think they hate Republicans. I think they hate themselves. I think they live with a lot of guilt. It makes them hate themselves. And it makes them do stupid things. Right here, Oregon governor signs new law allowing students to graduate without proving they could read, write, or do math. That's how you get 100% graduation rate, but that's not how you inspire the next generation. That's not how you prepare them for the next, for their adulthood. I mean, meerkats spend a lot of time training their kids how to deal with a scorpion. They start with a dead scorpion. They start with it, then they move on to a scorpion with no tail. Then they move on to a live scorpion. And those little meerkat babies, they got to prove it all the way along. So meerkats have a higher standard than Oregon schools. Huh. That's very interesting, And they're doing it to aid minorities and students of color. So in other words, their end goal is to have a 100% graduation rate and dumb minorities. That's really what they're saying. I mean, that's what they're saying. They're saying that minorities can't read, they can't write, and they can't do math. And so we're going to lower the bar for them. That's racism. That's racism. This school board member said it's not okay for kids to commit murder by coming to school not wearing a mask. See, and that's the Democrat reaction to things. There was a poll that was done some time ago, and 40% of Democrats thought that you had something like a 30-40% chance of dying from COVID if you caught it. And the real number's less than 1%. It affects certain people. I mean, pre-existing conditions, diabetes, obesity. But we don't want to make people feel bad about themselves. We don't want to make people feel responsible for their own misfortunes. So we're just going to blame it on COVID. We're going to make it out like everybody dies of COVID if you get it. But that's not the real picture. This lady, man, Lori Lightfoot, I've been up and down on her, but, she's the one who refused to give interviews to white reporters. Meanwhile, she's married to a white woman. And now she won't let the city have a tribute for a fallen officer who was killed in the line of duty, But yet, last week, 2 weeks ago, she allowed Lollapalooza. Nearly 400,000 people, probably more than 400,000 people all around it, people on the outside, whatever, all congregating for this. And she's fine with that, but not for a fallen officer. And that really, that's what makes it hard for me to believe. Because if I was on the side of somebody, on a political party side, and I found out that party was anti-police, I would leave. I don't really understand it. I vote for the Republicans. I think if I look at my entire history, I think it's pretty equally split between Democrats, independents, and Republicans in terms of the president. But lately, how am I supposed to vote for Democrats when they stand for this stuff? Like Joe Biden might not believe in defunding the police, but he allows people in his party to speak this way. He doesn't speak out against that. He doesn't come out and say that's wrong. And that's what we need in a president. We need a president who pulls people together in a cohesive way and says, whoa. Yeah, we might have some differing opinions and everything, but this woman needs to be honored. She gave her life for the city. This bitch don't even care. See? That's what pisses me off. She don't care. You can try to defend that. People can try to defend that all they want. But the fact remains, she doesn't care about people. She doesn't care about her officers. She cares about herself. She cares about her publicity, her clicks. We know these things. It's not hard to see. But yet nothing gets done with it. And this sums it up. Carpe donktum. People are unwilling, unable to believe anything that comes from the opposite camp. People will believe almost everything that comes from their camp, and anybody in between is called a traitor. This is unsustainable. It's unsustainable. If you sit there and believe lies long enough, eventually those lies are going to start getting exposed. Hunter Biden is a piece of shit. Let's just admit it. The guy is a dirty human being. That's all what he is. Okay? That doesn't mean Joe can't do the job, but he wasn't a really good father. So what? I don't know. But you want to talk about, the Trump kids. You want to vilify them still to this day, but you don't want to talk about the truly bad people. Everybody's acting like, they don't really understand this whole story. You hear about Cuomo. That piece of shit refused a hospital and a hospital ship from Trump, signed an order that forced nursing homes to take in sick patients, thus raising those counts. When those people died, if they got COVID in the nursing home and went to the hospital and died, it wasn't counted as a nursing home death. He falsified numbers and made $5.1 million on a book deal talking about how great he handled the crisis. They gave him an Emmy, and the motherfucker was lying the entire time. They were falsifying numbers. So in the middle of one of our greatest crises, he's only looking out for himself. You know? With the help of the media. Who this is a great example of how the media operates. Senate Democrats passed a $3.5 trillion budget. Here's why you should care a lot. They didn't pass that. They passed the framework. The article right below it, says that it's a framework. They said, oh, is this the bill we want to go with? Yes. Okay, and we're going to go with it. But it didn't pass. Probably not going to pass. Even Democrats don't want to pass this insane bill that's just giving out more free money. Because somebody is going to have to pay for it. You know? Republicans, in case you don't understand it, they passed the $1.5 or $1.7 trillion budget because, you know, they knew they had a compromise, and in some cases it was good for their states. So, you know, that's why they passed it. It's a much more modest budget. Yeah, there's some frivolous shit in it. We're going to put up power e-charging stations everywhere, charge up cars that don't even exist, but whatever. You know, I mean, every side's going to waste money. You know, we know this. We know they're going to piss our money somewhere. They're going to send it to a country, or they're going to blow it on something. We already know this. If a Republican was on, I'm sure if I looked, I would find where Trump wasted some money. I'm sure he did. Positive of it. That's what politicians do. It's not their money, so they waste it. Yeah, Scooby in the news here. Infrastructure bill, Green New Deal. And I'm not essentially what the $3.5 trillion deal is. We're trying to rush things as these old people try to secure their legacy. Yeah, I would love to see a day where we're just everybody on the planet is burning clean energy, but we're not quite there yet. We're moving in the right direction, but we're not there. But part of the problem is, like here in California, we refuse to use nuclear power. We refuse to do anything to get power that isn't that's detrimental to, or could be detrimental to, Mother Nature. We don't like hydroelectric. You know, so how are we going to get it? You know, how are we going to get it? Because solar panels are expensive, and they only really work during the day. Sure, that's not a problem. We have a lot of sun here. Windmills, you got to turn them off when the winds get too high, or they get damaged. They're expensive. You know, we already, you know, but let's go for it. But, you know, let's not pretend that like solar power is completely clean, because it's, you know, it's not. The batteries, the screens, all of that stuff, the receptors, whatever it's called, you know, they all wear out at some point. And yeah, we were speaking of the scumbag Hunter Biden earlier, and here he is, you know. He had another laptop and feared blackmail. You know, he was naked claiming another laptop was stolen which contained crazy sex. And they just keep saying it's irrelevant. Because it's their side, so they're putting to protect their side. And I mean, that's just fine, okay? But how are we going to get anywhere if we can't be, you know? He thought the Russians did it. And then, you know, Candace Owens sums it up. 4 years of baseless accusations that the Trump family was racist. And even though Joe Biden has said racist stuff, Hunter has said racist stuff, they still don't want to talk about the fact that the Bidens are racist. Okay, you know, here's you know, the president's son naked with a hooker complaining that the Russians stole his laptop to blackmail him. And they're not going to run with it? Come on. People would tune in for that. But they don't want to offend their masters. You know? They don't want to offend their masters. There's Biden on his Washington, D.C. yacht. This is Captain Biden speaking, all is well. And a lot of that's from the border. And, people are losing faith in the guy. They know he's going to raise taxes on the middle class. They know one way or another, either directly or indirectly, it's going to happen. After killing U.S. oil projects, Biden begs Russia, Saudi Arabia for help fighting rising gas prices. Are you fucking serious with this shit? I mean, how can you have voted for this guy and not see what's going on? The likelihood that there's going to be the Taliban overrunning everything and owning the whole country is highly unlikely. And he said that in mid-July. Well, here you go. They've already taken over Kabul. They've already captured hundreds of vehicles and drones, and billions of our dollars are now in the hands of the Taliban. Because yes, I thought we should have pulled out a long time ago, but in such a way that it wasn't just trying to vanish overnight. The deadline was supposed to be September 11th, which I thought was a really dumb day to do it on. But how about September 10th? We would have had more time to, protect the lives of people who helped us and to maybe get the equipment better secured, get it out of there. They're going to sell it to the Russians, exchange it for AK-47s and bullets. That's what's going to happen. Joe Biden, the U.S. economy. See? Is that really that far-fetched? No. It's exactly what's happening. He's just eating up our money and rising inflation. What did you think was going to happen? Let no COVID variant go to waste. It's just the same shit every week. They love this control. They love having us in masks so that we're all showing our subservience to the government. That should concern you. Who cares what side you're on? I'm an American, man. I'm a freedom-loving American. I don't really give a shit about the Republican or the Democratic Party. Bunch of rich people getting richer off of our tax dollars. So fuck them all. But the Democrats are relishing it. The Republicans are fighting it. Nation agrees to get vaccinated in exchange for TikTok influencers being launched into the sun. Oh, man. Some of these... Reminding your leftist friends that it's almost week 72 of 2 weeks to flatten the curve. See? We tried to do it. We tried to do the right thing. But, couldn't. And because of people like this Omar, taking money away from local communities for police funds, hiring private security. Cori Bush, same thing. I understand they need private security. But when they want to take away our security, but keep theirs, fuck that. Who are these people? Do you really think that if something happened to Omar, the world would be any different? No. She's as insignificant as I am. Okay? And I've gone a month straight with 0 views. Okay? She ain't doing shit. All she is bad ideas and trying to prop up her public persona. Batshit crazy, dude. They want the world in chaos, so we have to rely on the government for anything and everything. Hate that woman. All right, here's another great example. They want to democratic policies, defund the police, gun control is the mask over the end of the gun. And who's firing gun? Crime. Because, again, if you are watching this and you voted Democrat, think about this for a second, okay? They are blaming legal gun owners, but doing nothing about the criminals. Gascon, I just signed the recall petition last night. Gascon, RDA, doesn't add gun enhancements to crimes. But yet, he has no problem telling me how many rounds I could have in my pistol. Do you not understand that? That I deserve to have a 22 round clip in my gun if I so damn well choose. But a criminal has no right to a gun. How about that? How about that? No, gun control. We're going to close the loophole. How about you get serious about punishing people who steal and use firearms in the commission of crimes, okay? How about you try that for a while? Facebook to scan prayers for misinformation before passing you on to God. Babylon B, man. Where would I be without you? Kamala Harris petitions Britney Spears to judge for conservatorship of Joe Biden. Well, somebody has conservatorship over him. Damn, he's literally just a wind-up toy at this part. Rest of country holds a recall election on the state of California. I wouldn't really blame him, man. I know somebody just moved to Arizona, and I said, wow, you're so lucky you got a lifeboat before the ship sank. There we go. President Obama party, and we all know about that. Don't really give a shit. I really don't care. You know, I hope nobody got sick. Probably nobody did, but the kids have got to be miserable in those masks, man. They got to be. And this was my favorite one. Old school, man. This is for all the old school people out there. Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan. For those of you who don't know, Tanya Harding had her boyfriend hired some guy, Jeff Gillooly, and he kneecapped, literally walked up and hit Nancy Kerrigan in the knee with a lead pipe, trying to get her out of the Olympics so that Tanya could be the star, because Nancy was the big American star. And they got Tanya as Gavin Newsom and Kerrigan as the California Dream. And that's what we're seeing. You know, it's becoming harder and harder. You know, the people from Texas, they rent an entire house, a nice big house, 2-story house with a pool. And that same amount of money might get you a room in a slightly desirable town. But it isn't going to get you a house, and it's not going to get you a 1-bedroom apartment. Not most places you'd want to live. And that's the kind of shit that nobody's working on. You know, around here, there's a town that's sort of lower middle class, and they're bragging about these 12 new homes at $800,000. So how's that going to help the average Californian? Because they don't care. They just don't care. The politicians don't care. The Republicans put up some sort of facade, and some of them mean well, and some Democrats do. The chick from Arizona, I can never remember her name, Simonson or something like that. I really feel bad, but it's a hard name, and it just doesn't, you know. And the Manchin. And see, I can't remember what state he comes from. Because see, I'm not in this to wow you with my intellect. Okay? I'm not a scholar. Okay? I'm a philosopher. I'm a political philosopher. I see things coming. I talked about mask mandates. I talked about insurance companies saying that you needed to get vaccinated. I knew that they were going to require vaccination proof. That's why I got my cards. I could go, here's my papers. Sieg Heil. Because that's what they want. And that's what it's coming to. And I'm not going to die on that hill, man. I'm not going to die on the hill of the vax or not. Because frankly, as weak ass as this vaccine seems to be, hey, look, people aren't getting as sick when they're vaccinated, and that's great. They're prepping the body. I like that. I like putting in a little, little workout to get yourself stronger. But, it's slightly more useful than the masks that we've been wearing that are just a symbol of our servitude to the government. And you need to ask yourself, do you want to be a slave to the government? Because the problem with agreeing to be a slave is they just make you more and more of a slave every year. If that's what you want, keep voting Democrat. If not, get out and vote Republican. And if you're in California, vote to recall Gavin Newsom. Let's send him a shot. I don't care if it's another Democrat that gets in there. Let's just send a shot that we, the people, are not to be fucked with. Copious out.